Howdy y'all, this is Mar with Elementally Functional Family Fitness presenting EIM for Mobility in February here on KidPass. EIM is Elementally Intuitive Movement, which is a functional movement program designed by me, a massage therapist of 17 years and flow artist of 15 years, creating an intuitive movement program that has some structure to the improvised movement that we're creating within each level that we're going to be following, as well as paying attention to specific foundations. So we're deliberately paying attention to our breath, we're paying attention to our center, which is composed of our shoulders, our center, and our hips, and our base. Our base, we want our feet to be lined up with our knees. So rather than our feet going out or going in, we want our feet to be lined up even. Now, if your feet are already going out or already going in as your natural way, then very slowly start bringing them into center, because our bodies prefer a slow transition into center versus a fast transition into center. So that's important to have our feet there, and we can shift orientations, but most important is having those feet lined up with our knees. Next, our center, composed of our hip hinge, which means that we're going to bend from our hips so that our backs are straight versus bending like this. So we're going to hinge from the hip. So we're training ourselves to use our hip hinge so that our backs are protected. We're also training ourselves to keep our muscles, the muscles in our stomach and the front of our bodies, holding us up and supporting us. Instead of being out and relaxed, we're gonna be holding ourselves upright with these muscles, and also holding our shoulders open and back. Instead of being curved forward, we're holding them open. So that's part of center, is keeping our shoulders back, holding ourselves upright, hinging at our hips, and then that base, center. And now breath. We want to ensure that we're breathing in through our nostrils, because our noses are filters. We can exhale through the nostril or through the mouth, nostrils or mouth, whichever works best for you. But as much as possible, inhale through your nostrils. Now, as we're moving, we might drop some of those balls. Those are our foundations, our spheres of attention that we're paying attention to as we're practicing our levels. Now, to begin, before we even get anything started, I want to do a warm-up. So we're going to warm up with a shimmy. And to get the shimmy going, we have our feet planted in, we have our knees bent. Instead of being locked and up, back, they're bent a little bit, so that way we've got movement. And then we're going to take our hands and move them from side to side and keep our heads steady. Now, when I move my arms from side to side, the rest of my body starts to move too. And I'm shimmying. So now that I have a sense of how the rest of my body is moving, I'm going to take out the arms and just have the body moving. But my arms are still kind of moving, but I'm not really thinking about it. They're just moving. And this is our shimmy. And what we're doing here is warming up our muscles. We're also helping to lubricate our joints with the motion. And now we're going to put in our arms and we're going to shake them. And shaking our arms and shaking our bodies is a wonderful way for us to loosen up and shake off any tension that we might be carrying. Okay, so there we go. We're warmed up, and if during the day you feel like you've got a lot of energy and you want to get it out of your system, you can do that. Just stand in place and shake, 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 shake. Shake, 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 shake. As hard and as long as you can, and then relax. And there we are. And so that helps us process out that energy. So now we're going to start with level O. And level O, our hands are connected together. They can be connected palm to palm, fingertip to fingertip, back to back. There's different ways. As long as they're in contact with each other, that's all that matters for level O. With level O, we're exploring our near sphere. Our sphere extends all the way out our bodies, around our bodies, the edges of our fingertips. This is level 2. But level O, with our hands connected, We're exploring our near sphere, the space between ourselves and the edge of our connected hands. And level O is getting to know our guides. And our guides are our hands and our arms. So as we are exploring our sphere with our arms as our guides, we're keeping our feet in the same place. What that's doing is that it's restricting us in our motion, but through that restriction, we now get to discover all the different ways that we can move with our feet stuck in that position, and with our hands having to be stuck together. And as we're exploring, we're paying attention to our breath. Am I breathing in through my nostrils? Paying attention to center. Am I holding myself upright? Am I hinging at my hips? And we're paying attention to our base, ensuring that our feet are in a position that best helps to support our knees. Elementally intuitive movement is improvised movement, which means we're making it up as we go along. So you don't have to do what I'm doing. What I'm doing is just an example to show you ways that you can explore space with your body, with your hands connected. I shifted orientation there because we can shift position and then feel what it's like to explore space with our feet in that particular position. As we're moving through space, we are moving through planes. So we have our vertical planes, our horizontal planes, and our diagonal planes. And we move in either rectilinear or curvilinear motion. So we can explore curvilinear motion, which is very dynamic, rectilinear motion, and maintain the plane steady. And in maintaining the plane steady and holding that line, however we're moving, we're training our bodies to hold that position and to support our bodies through those motions. So even though our feet may be limited and our movements are limited because of our foot position, we still have a lot that we can do with that restriction. And that's part of the game, is discovering what are all the very many different ways that we may be able to move with our feet stuck in a particular position or our hands stuck together in a particular position. So you see, rather than pick up my feet, I just shift. I shift. And I check and ensure that they're still in a position that helps to support my knees. I'm still hinging at my hips. I'm holding myself up using my center. I'm holding my shoulders open and upright. And I'm breathing in through my nostrils as much as I can remember to. As we're practicing, we sometimes will drop those balls. We'll catch ourselves breathing in through our mouth, or we'll catch ourselves not holding ourselves upright, or our feet may not be in the best position, and that's okay. We pay attention, notice, shift, and keep on practicing. Part of elementally intuitive movement is learning to pay attention to our bodies and recognize when we've dropped one of those balls, and then picking them back up again and getting it back in rotation as effortlessly as possible. Okay, so that was some level O. Now, level 1, our hands are connected to our bodies because we're finding our centers. Finding our centers with our hands gives us a sense of proprioception. Proprioception is where our bodies are in space. So we know where we be and how much space we take up. We can use this level as an opportunity to thank our bodies. We can thank our heads and our ears and our eyes and our noses and our mouths and our chins and our necks. We can thank our shoulders. We can thank our chest. We can thank our arms and our elbows and our forearms and our wrists and our hands. And come back to my chest, my lungs. I'm grateful and thankful for my lungs and my heart. I'm grateful for my stomach and all that it can digest and process. I'm grateful for my guts for what they help to retain and eliminate. I'm grateful for my hips because they help me to bend with this wonderful hip hinge mechanism. I'm grateful for my knees because they allow me to bend, and my thighs in between my hamstrings in the back, and my glutes, my butt, knees, legs. We've got our shins in the front and our calves in the back, and our ankles and our feet and our toes. And we can just thank all of it, all of it, all of it, because we can't experience life without these bodies, without these vessels. These are our spaceships that we're exploring space with. So we're exploring as we get to know our guides with our hands, and then we find our centers with our hands as well. And as we're doing level 1, we don't necessarily have to maintain firm, full contact. It could just be fingertips. Then we've got 1.5. So this is getting us on our way to level 2, expanding into our sphere, and we're maintaining contact with our bodies, which helps to stabilize us, give us a sense of where we are. So we're still finding our centers with that as we are exploring our sphere with our free hand, and recognizing how our hands affect the rest of our bodies as we're moving, because our hands, or rather our arms, are levers. That the further away they are from us, the more we can feel the effects of gravity on our bodies. So we really get to play with physics, physically, as we practice our EIM. All right, and now level 2, expanding into our spheres. So as we expand into our spheres, we reach out as far as we can in every direction that we can possibly think of, while supporting our bodies with optimal foot position to knees, hinging at the hips, supporting our centers with holding ourselves up with these muscles all the way around, as well as holding our chests open. And remembering to breathe in, inhale through our nostrils. When we move quickly, we're more likely to knock ourselves off balance and destabilize. So maybe we want to go more slowly as we're exploring. That helps our bodies build strength, as well as helps us get a better sense of how to approach that avenue of motion in the safest way possible. And then once we're familiar with approaching that avenue of motion, then we can go a lot faster, which challenges us. And then it's fun to mix it up. Do some slow, some fast, some slow again. And now that you know all 3 levels, we're gonna mix it up. Put in some 1, 0, 2, 1.5, main goal of EIM is mobilization. It's reminding our bodies that they can move in so very many different ways, because whatever we do on a repetitive basis, or whatever we practice often, our bodies get better at. So if we practice sitting a lot, then we get really good at sitting. And if we practice moving in very different ways and exploring how to move through our particular little spheres with our particular vessels, because every body is different. We all have different dimensions. We're not all gonna move in the same way. That's why I don't expect you to do what I'm doing. You're gonna move how you're gonna move, because your body is your body. Your vessel is your vessel, and it's going to change throughout your life. So getting to practice, a deliberate practice that we're choosing to do so that we know how mobile we are, helps our bodies to better adapt to the changes that we're going to go through in life, because we're practicing moving with our body every day as our bodies feel that day, and listening to our bodies every day and recognizing what's happening. As we're finding our centers, we may come across areas that are sore. We can communicate that to our family members and say, oh, I noticed something hurts here, something hurts here. Maybe they can help you. Or maybe you can help yourself and just rub it. Give yourself a massage and say, oh, thank you. Thank you, body. I appreciate you. Practicing every day for a few minutes a day helps remind our bodies that we can move in different ways. And the more that we practice, the better we get at it. The more avenues of motion we're going to discover, and the more we'll become familiar with the avenues that we enjoy moving through, and recognize which are the ones that we prefer to avoid. And that's okay too. Part of this practice is recognizing what feels good and what doesn't. And if something doesn't feel good and doesn't feel comfortable, don't do it. Try it a different way. Our goal isn't to push ourselves into an uncomfortable place so much as recognize all the different places that it's comfortable to be when we're restricted by particular parameters, like our feet being in the same position, in the same place. And we do have some variation, but our feet are still planted. And that's okay, because there's a lot that we can do with our bodies and get full body mobilization without even picking up our feet. So within a very small space, we can work our whole bodies, get cardiovascular exercise for our hearts and lungs, practice breath awareness and mindfulness of posture, as well as foot position, which helps to support our posture as well, because our feet are our base. And if your feet are off, then compensation goes up the line. So putting our feet in a space that best supports our knees helps to support the rest of our bodies all the way up. And that's part of what we're doing as we're practicing EIM. It's becoming aware. So we figure out what is the most effective and efficient ways for our bodies, for your body, for you, to move through space, for you, through your sphere, without fear. Okay, so to end out today's practice, I would like to do what I call vagalizing, which is supporting vagal tone with the intention of helping us process tension. Our vagus nerve, runs from our brains all the way through the center of our bodies and helps to send communication from here up to our brains, back and forth. It's part of our rest and digest system. So supporting vagal nerve tone makes it so that our bodies can rest better, digest better, and can more easily calm down when they're in a state of distress. We can support vagal nerve tone with singing, humming, and laughing, which are fun ways. There's other ways to do it too, but those are the 3 ways that we will be addressing it as we do vagalizing at the end of our elementally intuitive movement classes. So we're going to hum, and then we're going to laugh the vowels. And as we hum, we're going to continue practicing our aim. So we can still do our mobilization as we're doing our vagalizing. So here we go with O's and and one and two Now we're going to laugh the vowels, A-E-I-O-U, except we're going to go And all right, so there we go. That was elementally intuitive movement with some vagalizing at the end to help support vagal tone. That also helps us process tension. Like the shaking helps us process tension. So if you're feeling tense, if you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling nervous, you can just shake, shake, shake. And it doesn't matter to our bodies if the laughter isn't initially real. It's okay, we can fake it. We might even laugh for real from fake laughter. Regardless, our bodies still get the benefit because it changes how we're breathing, it's changing how we're thinking, and it's gonna help shift how we feel. And that's what's most important, is recognizing that there are some things in life that we don't have control over, but we do have control over our breath, our center, and our base, and what is within our sphere, which is our vessel. So we do what we can to train our vessel consciously every day with our deliberate practice of moving, exploring our spheres fearlessly, because we know that our feet, our base is in a great space to support our knees. We know that we're hinging at our hips and that we're holding ourselves up and our shoulders back, so we're upright, and we're breathing in through our nostrils, so our noses are filtering the air, and we're breathing as calmly, as slowly as we can, because we've been practicing paying attention to our breath and breathing calmly and slowly as we practice our aim, whether we're getting to know our guides, finding our centers, or expanding into our spheres. All right, I hope you enjoyed AIM for Mobility in February, and if you like it and want to learn more, check out my class. It's a 36-week program. We have one class per week, which gives you a full week to practice that level before we move on to the next one. Thank you so much. This is Mara, Elementally Functional Family Fitness, at your service. Thank you.